Hey, fourth grade, Mr. Gambaruti here with another video. Today we're going to be looking at TEK 4.2a, and that says interpreting place value relationship as 10 times bigger or 1/10 smaller. So in class, we have been talking about the powers of 10. And every time you multiply something by 10, you add a 0. And it gets 10 times bigger. It moves to the left one place value. So let's take our first digit in the ones place, 3. If we times 3 by 10, we get 30, okay? And if you notice, what's the difference between 3 and 30? It's got a new place value. That 3 shifts left one position, and now we're in the tens place. So we were in the ones place here, but now we're shifting one place value to the left, okay? So now we're going to take that 30 and we're going to multiply it by 10. And guess what? 30 times 10, we're going to add another 0 and it becomes 300, okay? And so you're going to start to see this pattern. Every time we take that number, we multiply it by 10, two things are going to happen. One, it's going to add a 0 to it, and that 3 is going to shift one place to the left every single time you take that digit and multiply it by 10. Okay, so this is the power of 10. It has the power to shift a digit one place to the left. Okay, so that's 10 times bigger. 10 times bigger, 10 times bigger. And that's what they're referring to in that place value relationship. So we can say this 3 that's circled in the tens place is going to be 10 times larger than the 3 in the ones place that's underlined. So let me write that out. The 3 in the tens place is going to be 10 times greater than the 3 in the ones. And that's going to be true for every place value to the left. It's always going to be 10 times greater than the place value to the right of it. Okay? And so just the opposite is true. So if we know if we're going 10 times greater is one position to the left, pause the video really quick. What do you think is going to happen if we go to the right? All right, so if you paused and thought about it, if we're getting 10 times bigger every time we go to the left, if we go to the right and we shift down a place value, guess what? It's getting 10 times smaller. And when we say 10 times smaller, we're actually going to say 1/10. And that's where they get this from in our TEK, 1/10 smaller. So let's take a look at that. Let me erase this really quick. So if I'm going to take a look at let's take a look at the 10,000s place. Okay, let's take a look at this 3 right here in the 10,000s. Think about what's the value of this 3? How much is that 3 worth? It's worth 30,000. Okay? The 3 before it is worth 3,000. It's in the thousands place. Well, what do you know? What's the biggest difference you notice between these two numbers? The 3 in the thousands place has one less 0 than the 3 in the 10,000s place. Okay? That means this 3 that's underlined in the thousands place, we're going to say it's 1/10 smaller than the 3 that's circled in the 10,000s place. Okay? So if the digit is to the left, it's going to be 10 times bigger. If we're looking at the digit on the right, it's going to be 1/10 smaller. All right, let's take a look at an example. So here's the question. What is the relationship between the 4 in the hundreds place, that's going to be this number right here, circled, and the 4 in the tens place. I'm going to underline that. So the first thing we want to do is we want to think about the value of each. Okay, let's think about the value of this 4 in the hundreds place. It has a value of 400. Then we're going to think about the value of this 4 in the tens place. It has a value of 40. Which one's bigger? Did you say 4 in the hundreds place? If you did, you're right. This is larger. It's further to the left. This 4 is worth less. It's on the right. So when we're making these comparisons, we're either wanting to compare it as being 10 times bigger or 1/10 smaller. So this sentence says the 4 in the hundreds place is, we're going to say 10 times bigger because it's worth more and it's to the left of the 4 in the tens place. Now, if we reverse that statement and we want to talk about the 4 in the tens place first, we would say the 4 in the tens place is 1/10 smaller than the 4 in the hundreds place because it's worth less. It's in a smaller place value. Okay, let's take a look at one more. Now, this question that we're going to look at comes from STAR. This is an actual STAR question. It comes from the release STAR, I believe, in 2022. So it says, in the numbers shown, one digit is underlined and one digit is circled. Which statement about the circled digit is true? So whenever you're doing these types of questions, you want to start thinking about value. What is each of those numbers worth? What's their value? So let's take the underlined digit first. Let's think about the value. So first we want to go and ask ourselves, what place is it in? What's the location? It's in the 10,000s place. We have 7 groups of 10,000. So what's the value? It's worth 70,000. Okay, now we're going to think about this circled digit and think about what is the value of it and where is it? What's the place? Well, I know that this 7 that's circled is in the thousands place. So there's 7 of them. It has a value of 7,000. Now, the next step you want to ask yourself is, which one's bigger? Which one's more valuable? Okay, or worth more? 70,000 is larger, 7,000 is smaller. Now, the question asks us to think about the circled digit. So we're going to be thinking about the smaller value, okay? So that circled digit, we're not going to say it's 10 times bigger. We want to say it's 1/10 smaller. So that's the answer we want to look for because we know 7,000 is less than 70,000. So when we read these, we're going to think, is the circled digit, is the value 10 times greater than the underlined digit? Well, the answer to that is no. We know it's less, so it can't be A. Is the value of the circle digit 1/10 the value of the underlined digit? Yeah, maybe. I'm going to put an M there for maybe because that matches my thinking, so that could possibly be my answer. C, is the value 70 times bigger than the underlined digit? Well, we know it can't be bigger because we know 7,000 is worth less, so it can't be C. Is the value 1/70th the value of the underlined digit? Well, I know this is probably the worst answer because in 4th grade, we never talked about 1/70th. So if we haven't talked about it and we haven't learned it, it is not going to be an answer on a test question. So I can get rid of D. So that leads me to B as being the best answer. 7,000, since it's worth less, is 1/10 the value of 70,000. All right, 4th grade, that's going to do it. That was TEK 4.2a. Now, this TEK is confusing.